Good evening.
Salutations.
Oh, actually, I got countdown still.
Hello, hello.
Wow, we sound like a bunch of professionals here.
I never claimed to be professional.
Yep.
In my
Forgive
ass.
me, I'm still going over notes for this.
You made notes?
Yes, actually.
That sounds about
In
right.
the 30 minutes I had leading up to this, yes. I started taking notes on the article.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Did anybody else make notes?
You
Didn't
live
need
it.
to.
Why-
Yeah.
I'm just curious. So who wants to get this particular pork train rolling?
So tonight we're discussing GNS theory. This is a very informal field of study, development. And the theory goes a little something like this. GNS is Gamist, Narrative, and Simulationist theory. The ideas or the core concepts of this is that there are three types of game elements that go into role-playing games. There's the gaming aspect where it's you're rolling dice, you're checking stats, and you're trying to make your stats better than the opposite side's stats. And you're trying to reduce their numbers before they can reduce yours. That's the gamer side of it, or the game side of it. The narrative side is you're trying to build out a world or character designs or motives that fit within a consistent driving force. You're trying to make consistent characters or consistent concepts in your character and the world around you to drive home a narrative aspect. And then there's the simulation side of the game where everything within the game is inspired by some form of source, and you're trying to stay true to that source and everything about that thing. So if you're running like Forgotten Realms, everything is, Forgotten Realms related. Like it is, this Forgotten Realms is the simulation. And you try not to deviate from that. So that's, I think, what we're mostly trying to talk about tonight. But forgive me, because I don't fully understand the concept, because I try to be in the middle of all that without ever realizing that this theory existed, if you can call it a theory.
I have to agree with you there. There's a time and place for everything in a role-playing game, and trying to shoehorn it into one of the three takes away from it, I think.
I think some of the best games that I have played in and run myself, and I've even gotten feedback on from at least one of my players on this exactly, that the way I run my games, it's I design it in such a way that I have all three elements built in without attempting it. And I guess that could be because I've seen how games are designed through module play, through reading Dungeon and Dragon magazines for the years I've read them. And I think it also comes from very good game sessions that I try to have all three aspects within the game. And maybe I don't know what stemmed this this concept or this theory, or when it was developed, but it seems to be that most current games seem to be leading away from the gamist side of things, where things are more narrative and simulation based. I don't know what your guys' opinion on that is. And in that, I mean, look at 5e. How hard is it to actually kill a character? How difficult is it to actually make a character perma-dead?
Very.
Well,
Yeah, go for it.
I can
Possible.
No, I disagree with that, Shadow. I can kill a character if we do it by a certain rule. Like all systems out there.
Okay, no, just core rules.
What rules?
No
You
additional
have to
side rules.
Okay, you knock them down to 0, minus 1, right?
Sure.
They have to make 3 rolls
Uh-huh.
to make saves. Once they fail each of those saves, they're permadead. If something hits them while they're on the ground, they already have 2 strikes against them. So if they roll on the they roll and they fail, they're done. It's not impossible to kill a character. Once you have a character down,
Okay.
then you're
How
if you
difficult
fail-
is it though?
not hard. It's not really hard at all.
How many character deaths have you had at your table in 5e?
5e. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He died twice in one night, so 10.
Really? So
Doesn't count if
you
he
would be
died
the
twice.
exception. Go, Shadow.
Well, in comparison to just about every other game that came before it, as soon as you hit a negative number, you're just dead. If you fail 1 save, you're dead. You don't get 3, you get 1 or none. That's a huge
Well, you have to roll-
mathematical difference.
You have to go minus the con. If you hit 0, then minus 1, but you're not below your con. What's the word?
And tack on to the fact that sometimes in most games, if you go to 0, you're just dead, period. It's not negative con, it's just 0. You're just dead.
What was rule 3 with Pathfinder?
Which
They
roll?
drop-
Which roll?
A rule. It's like they drop you below 0, but as long as you're not past your con, you're not dead.
Okay, your Constitution is going to if they go past negative con, and they cannot pass a saving throw, a Fortitude save of 10 plus however many points are down below 0. So say you've got a 24 con as a barbarian, and I hit you, and I knock you to negative 10, and you don't have any more oomph, and you fall down. That round, if you haven't gone yet, you will spend that round doing a con or a Fortitude save 20. And if you fail, next round it's Fortitude save 21. Fortitude save
Bleeding out.
22. Go ahead.
Yeah, he's refer that as bleeding out. You're just slow ticking towards death at that point.
It's not
Hey, Charlie.
automatic. It's not auto death once you hit 0. It's auto death if you go past your con.
In older, it was 10. It was just negative 10 and dead. But those are older editions. So
And before that, it was 0. And in a lot of normal
Yeah.
games right now, 0 is just dead, not just the old
What
games,
game?
but
I
a
mean,
lot of the newer games.
now, at least as far back as I can remember from second edition, second edition AD&D, it was neg 10 dead. So it's been a very long time since they've had 0 equals dead.
Traveler.
Okay, yeah, okay. If we're gonna start pulling into other games, then yes, dead happens at dead. But the thing is that you also have the spiral towards death at that point, which usually causes. You know what? I'm shutting the fuck up now. I'm just gonna shut the fuck up. I'm shutting the fuck up now.
So here's where I'm driving at here is the Gamist side of things has kind of gone away in a lot of 5th edition. It's not about, reducing numbers, because you can't reduce the numbers of player characters to a meaningful point or level. So it's gone more simulation and narrativeness. That's more important, where the characters and granted, the characters are the star of the show. Like, never forget that the characters are the star of the game.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, if there's no real threat of death or loss, then there's really no true challenge, is there? So the
Absolutely.
gamist side of D&D 5e has kind of gone away because they've taken away the threat of death, the threat of permanently losing that character. Because you get not just one, not two, but 3 chances to stand back up. Not to mention, all the amount of healing that can be done in a single round. And there are people out there that say, hey, don't wait or don't heal yourself if you're just like 2 or 3 hit points down, or even like 5 hit points down. Wait till you hit 0, because you get the maximum amount of points back if you wait to 0 and use a healing ability. So that right there tells me that the gaming side of it is just not there, or the numbers no longer really matter.
All right.
Yeah, go for it, Connell.
Kai, go for it.
Okay. The fact that we have 3 whole saves. Remember with that comment about how we said bleeding out was a thing? So yeah, you had potentially with barbarians, if you were to use Bruce's combination there, I example there of Kano 24, dear God, you're a beast. So you go unconscious at -1, you have 23 chances to not die, because you're bleeding out 1 per round. So you have 23. The average character with 14 con, 14, 16 con, which is about average for a good hardy character. It's not your mainline fighter. If you get dropped at negative, to -1, -2, you have 12, 13 possible saving throws to not die, to stabilize. So, and to use that, and to go to other games. See, the problem is that we seem to be concentrating on a game which you are at 100% effectiveness from X being max to 1. You are 100% effective. Just no penalties. You are a combat spell casting god of all things. And then you go unconscious. Other games, we have that spiral down into nothing, where most other games have this concept of unconsciousness and then death. So, and there's not even a bleed out. So like, say, West End game Star Wars, unconsciousness. Shadowrun, unconsciousness. World of Darkness, on several blocks of unconsciousness. Legends of the Five Rings, there's an unconsciousness point. There's points where you can get dropped to that is not auto death, bleeding out, where you're now merciless, where you're now at the mercy of the elements, needing friends to help you, but you're not worthless. But you're not bleeding out death. But we concentrate on a game where we only have fully functioning combat god bleeding out dying. Or if you stabilize, you're at 0 and you now are at unconscious until somebody comes along and like slaps you in the face. I had a healing potion and goes, get back into the fight, bud. And now you're fucking back up there. You're like, I'm ready to go punch me some bad guys and go kill some more. I mean, while other games where it's like, oh shoot, now you got to go up, heal up multiple stages before you're back up to being semi-functional, enough to be able to limp out of the fight. But like I said, we focus on, but because we have a gamist mentality where we don't have, so those other games where you have degrading down and you injured worse, that's more the simulationist, more narrative focus, while we have the gaming focused stat engine of full functionality, dead. Full functionality, dying, and that's what you're stuck at.
Hey,
Kai. Yes.
I'm not disagreeing with you at all, but I'm going to tell you that there are some people out there that if it's rules as written, I'm at 0 hit points. I'm fucking useless. Or I'm at 1 hit point. I can do everything as if I was fresh out of bed.
Yep.
They expect you to run a game where they have no hindrances until they're at 0. And
I know.
Before I go down to 0, the paladin's going to sacrifice himself to take the damage for me. Or my hireling will jump in front of it and he will die with honor. Or you'll have all these ham-fisted bullshit excuses. Speaking as a game master or a dungeon master who is letting the dice tell a story, but the players are trying to throw up all this black and white text from a core rule book, which is like, you realize that's that's all suggestions, right? You got hurt. You got hurt 40 out of 45 hit points. You're not feeling so fresh anymore, bub.
Oh, that's okay. I'm fine. I'm pushing through it. I got willpower and toughness.
I know.
And
I know.
I know.
You tell them that one time, like, you're really not feeling good. I'm good. I'm at the front of the combat. Is it my initiative?
Oh, yeah. And I've had players give me weird errata explanations for how they're functioning. And it's like, okay, so, like, I'm not dead to the end of my round, right? Quick, somebody heal me. And, like, you're dead. No, it's not dead until the end of the round. Like, okay, some weird ass errata that was put out, some frequently asked questions that got eventually errated back out. And I'm like, oh, you know what? Why the fuck? I was like, now the healer feels like they're actually useful rather than, well, if I don't heal you now, you're going to be a splat mark. And it's like there's other weird shit. Like when the story starts, when story and simulation gets broken, so that way you can have a combat-focused dice engine where we're just kind of sitting here rolling dice until roll dice, use abilities, and boy, this is fun. I know this because I've unfortunately handed over GMing duties to a younger generation, and they're like, combat. And I'm like, oh dear God, could you let us have some role playing? No, we're playing the game, and I'm like, oh my God, was I this dumb at 15? I was.
Probably.
Oh dear God.
Well, I mean, that kind of gets to the point of the whole concept of the theory is, the gamists are more concerned about, rolling damage and making their stats better than all the other stats. But I don't know. I find this theory very divisive or derisive. And that's because it's trying to segregate people into three different groups. And I'm like, but I want all three things.
Well, the thing is that it's a really good way to.
That's how the world is working these days, Jay.
Well,
that's
oh
an
my
intentional thing.
It's also
You can't go anywhere without finding that mentality.
It's also a way for people who focus on all I want to do is be a mechanically amazing, awesome, badass, super wizard fighter, whatever they want to be. My class, my combo, I am the best, and they want to be able to justify why they're being a combat wombat munchkin. Munchkin, brought to you by Korea Tech. They're fucking the most amazing, awesome guy. They are gamists. They are the best gamists ever because they have done the math. Like, they're the best of the multiverse of kicking your ass. And they want to be able to hide behind it. Meanwhile, it's like we have narrative or simulation-based gaming, or for people who are more focused on one of those two aspects, those two tend to take away from or isolate and leave just flailing there waiting for combat to happen, the gamist, who only has, well, what do? I swing sword, I cast spell. I roll dice, I make DC check, because I'm really good at making DC check. Do you do anything else? Well, I can roleplay the rest of it out, and it's like, okay, cool. Are you going to do anything useful? Does it benefit my ability to smite and kill and slaughter? No. Then I'm going to sit in the background and wait until it's time to kill. I murder, death, kill, and that's usually what it comes down to. It's like, oh man, it's like, but they want to have a shelter so that way the people who think that way can feel like they're still contributing, that the hobby is built around them while belittling those who are, I want a more narrative, personality, character-driven game. No, the gamists. We're gaming.
See, and with that, I disagree. I think 5th Ed actually plays more into the gamist, and not from the player standpoint, but more for the monster standpoint. Because you go in, and if you take a first level, even going back to 1st Ed, 1st, 2nd, third or even fourth ed, stack them against each other, that fifth edition character is going to win, and that is where the taking of diminishing numbers is actually more geared. They've taken it away from taking it off of the player side and put it onto the actual monster side, or the big bad side, or whatever you want to call it, the encounter side, where that is where you're getting more of the Grog smash, and that's where you're getting a lot more of that. And I think that is one thing that we are seeing is a lot more of that, where they are working with those roles and working through, being able to, they think it's role playing because they roll the dice. They don't, it's the wrong role that they're looking at. And I think that is more where the gamist concept comes into this.
Okay, look at the last 20 years. Look at the modern gamer, not our generation of gamer, but younger gamers. In 3.5, we learned a new name for gaming called Minimax. Then you have, hold on, Kai, let me finish. They got Minimax. I have to make the best possible character out there. I have to be Ash Ketchum and catch them all. When I say catch them all, I have to have all the XP.
Oh, that's been around for years, dude.
Right. Then we get video
remember
games.
Second Edition?
I never played Second
Were you
Edition.
alive during Second Edition AD&D?
He was alive, but
I never played it.
Okay, like the game in Second Edition, when WotC took over, and we didn't get any new content at all that mechanically came out from like 97 to 99. Everything they put out was the Guide to Hell, which had one spell in it. That was it. So all these people playing Second Ed, they would pull out the Drow's Handbook, the Fighter's Handbook, the Player's Handbook, the Combat and Tactics, which sucked. And they would pull out other books and they'd try to min-max. And they'd try to take what should be about an hour-long character creation cycle, and they'd stretch it into 3 or 4 or 6 hours. I don't know why, because it doesn't take that long to transpose numbers from book to character sheet, but you had that. You have nothing that's changed from Second Edition on. Maybe even First Ed. Shadow could possibly even...
If you were allowed to roll your dice and then assign the order, so to speak, if you used that option, which is in the DMG, instead of just rolling straight down, you were then min-maxing, because you would put your best stats in the appropriate slots. If you're playing a fighter, you're putting your highest stat in strength, then dex or con, depending on what you preferred. And that was the same for, any time you were allowed to not just roll straight down the line.
Well, the other thing I was getting at, then we got video games. Way from Mario up to whatever the Hogwarts Legacy, where basically the game is I gotta make my pixel character as badass as I can, and we're gonna transpose this over to D&D and hope we can bridge the difference.
3.5 and Pathfinder were probably the crunchiest versions of the official game, which they weren't official. But I'm going to say that min-maxing has been something that's been used for as long as we can. Remember, we've had that. Shadow could tell you it happened in First Ed and Basic. Hell, when I was running Basic out of Rule Cyclopedia in 91, when people would come to the game store and they're like, "You're running with weapon mastery?" Oh, dude, we want to play. And then like you have these elves running around doing like 3 6 or 2 8 damage with their long swords, because they're allowing something that most other people are trying to breeze over. Like, no, that's taking too much out of the game. And I thought, no, it's in the book. Go ahead and use it. And I think the argument for gamer simulationist narrative is wonderful. I think it's a great argument. But I think it really is just something that should be on the shoulders of the DM to regulate how much of each you want in your game.
Absolutely. Know your room. Read the table, read the room. If your players, want nothing but role playing, then go with narrative. If
Yeah.
your players, would rather be playing a war game, maybe, Simulationist is the way to go. Learn your table, learn your group, learn your players, and modify it as needed.
I mean, I used to be one of those mid-max McMurder hobos, and I say I used to be because I am not focused on that at all anymore. I used to run my characters by the numbers because the group I used to play with, or first started playing with, that's how it was done. Like, if you didn't have the best numbers, you had a dead character by session 1. And if you didn't have the best numbers by session 2, you had another dead character at session 2. So, I quickly learned that I needed to have the best numbers to survive in one of 3 different areas, either our offensive power, defensive power, or the ability to evade. So, I mean, I that's how I learned how to play the game, and that was in 3.5. I'm not going to say that's correct. I'm going to say that's probably a way to play. It's a Gamist way to play. But I've since learned that I value player interaction and story more so than I value numbers. Because honestly, I can't tell you the last time I rolled a nat 20, and I can't tell you what the experience was like to roll a nat 20 at a table as a player. I have stories of things that have happened, and I don't know if it was a critical hit. I don't know if it was a critical failure on someone else's part. I just have the story of what happened, and that's what I care about more.
Jade, what was the turning point?
The turning point for me was probably within the last 10 years. I had a few characters in that time, and I was focused on the numbers for most of them. And then I think it was during the last game with Scott Clark running it, and he's been in the chat for Wednesday night Gatekeepers. And I was playing Glass, this shadowy assassin type character, and I actually had not built him to be the best at numbers game. Like, I had purposely gone out of my way to build something or make a character that couldn't actually kill something within the first round of combat. Yes, he was a rogue. Yes, he had strange shadow magic powers, but he was not designed to kill things in the first round. He was designed to put things in a position to be killed more easily. And that was his whole concept. And that's actually what he used to, that was the phrase I would use, is like, I don't know. And everyone's like, or the NPCs were like, are you here to kill me? No, I'm not here to kill you. I don't kill anyone. I just put them in a position to be killed. And what have you done that deserves that? And it was during that character I realized, like, I had I had one player at the table who was all about the numbers, who wanted to be able to, anytime he rolled the die, he didn't care about the D20 roll because it was already in the 100s to hit. He didn't care about the damage because it was already in the 300s for damage. And that was his concept. Like, that's how he plays the game. He does not care about the story. He just wants to know, am I hitting something? Why am I not hitting something if I'm not? And when do I get to hit something next? Like, that's just the way he plays the game. I had another player at that same group in that same table that was all about how he could influence or use his character to influence our interactions, because he was a bard. And honestly, out of everyone at the table, he was the absolute best, hands down role player I have ever been sitting at the table with. He's actually the guy who made the dice program that we used last week. He is by far the absolute best role player I have ever sat down at a table with. And if I had the opportunity to sit down at the table with him again, I would in a heartbeat. I wouldn't care what the game was.
I'll give you that, and I know who you're talking about.
it was him and the way he played his bard character that was the title or moment, the moment that I'm like, I need to be playing like that. That seems more fun than what I have been doing. Because if all the years I played where I was the numbers character, like I would roll dice, and yeah, I'd have my moment of, oh yeah, this is critical hit. I killed the guy in one hit, hooray! And then the whole rest of the session, I was bored because I wasn't doing anything. And then that's what really drove the point home to me. It's like, I am playing the game wrong because I'm no longer having fun if I'm not rolling dice. If I'm not rolling dice and I'm not having fun, why am I here? And then it just kind of clicked over. Oh, because I'm supposed to be doing that. I'm supposed to be role playing, not role playing. So yeah,
I will say there was one other event in your life that actually helped push that over too, and it was probably the greatest thing that could have happened to you. And she's upstairs probably right now.
Actually,
because
she's at class.
But she also, his wife, is also a very good role player. She will
she is.
role play out everything. And I think with that gentleman and her kind of combined, that's where I started to see the
switch,
the shift.
Yeah.
I've played with Jaide and at tables with Jaide, and I see your point. I definitely see where you're going with this. But I have to say, some of my favorite memories of watching you play is beating that poor schmuck with the boat, or rolling a nat 20. Rolling a nat 20 and Bruce pulling out the how fucked is this guy side cards. You blew off his fingers. So
no, I didn't blow off his fingers. That was against an owlbear. I was running a gunslinger as a playtest for Pathfinder 1E, and I blew a hole through the owlbear big enough that when it fell on me, it fell around me instead of on me.
So yes, I can understand your argument that we should take more time and actually role play instead of just rolling the dice. But there is definitely always an argument that sometimes picking up a set of dice and rolling it out and having random fucking events like that, between beating the shell out of somebody with a foldable boat, me tricking a fucking red dragon out of its horde by using a wand in a bluff check. Or it's going to two-stick memories with you, because I rolled a nat 20 and Shitbird McGee rolled a nat 1, and this was how those stories are told. So saying one is better than the other, I don't agree with. I think there should be a happy medium.
I agree. There should be a happy medium of it. And to Baron's point, my wife actually, she didn't start playing D&D. She started with playing Vampire the Masquerade and Mage the Ascension. That's where she started playing RPGs. So you're right. She is more of an actual role player rather than a role player. So yeah, I would agree with you, Baron, on that.
We've both been doing a side hobby of DAG here for decades. At least for me, it's going on 2 decades. And it first got brought up to me as, you have to speak in character the entire time. How often I've gone to more events than you have. How many events have you actually seen people, try to speak in Old English? And this is a different type of gaming.
It's not about speaking in accent. It's about speaking in character. Accent is different from character. Like if I was to play,
you're right.
If I was to play, I don't know, a Denshar, I'm not going to speak in a hissing voice all the time. Like he was a catfolk person, a reformed Rakshasa, who was actually a member of the Bastet race. But I'm not going to speak in that purring, hissing voice all the time. In fact, I never did. I spoke in my normal voice, but I always spoke in character.
Okay.
So accents are different than
I wasn't meaning.
speaking to.
I know which way I was going with that, and that wasn't
I mean,
the direction I was going.
some people have a hard time maintaining an accent or a voice. I mean,
Mhm.
I could pull off Marvin the Martian for about a good 45 seconds. Marvin the Martian for over 10 minutes of monologue. Good luck, fucker. It ain't probably gonna happen. I would love to.
But I do not see exactly how we can have this extended conversation in this voice with that level of immersion that I'm dipping my fellow players in.
I mean, if I'm gonna write a character and have a voice, I'm going to be using like language shortcuts in my box text. I'm going to be truncating words to give it a certain sound or accent, because I'm gonna fool my brain into reading it in that method, or prepping my mind by reading it in that method, and then I'll have that voice. But that's only if I'm the game master, not the player.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with your accent. Sometimes you get kicked out of game for being a racist liberal.
Huh. Anyway.
Kai?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Then Kai must be tired.
Oh no, I can hear you. I'm just being quiet. That's all.
No, Matt Boyman asked if you were okay.
Oh no, I'm just I think what we just hit upon was the fact of what the game engine, the game that we're playing, tends to bring. Since a lot of us started with the most mindless of all games, which really is just Math Finder or Advanced Dungeons and Math Tracks. We think about the game in. So how about but if you started with a more narrative thing, so most of us, I'm a level blah de blah racial class fucktard, level X, Y, Z character. That's what I'm playing. I think in terms of X, Y, Z. But you don't think about and we have clear delineations of what power is. You are X level. You are Y race, which has set things, and you have Z class, which based on level, you can extrapolate out what it can do. When we encounter a monster, where it's is it approximately this? Now, in more narrative games, more narrative focuses, where it's you encounter to use vampire, you encounter a Brujah. You have an idea what that Brujah could be, or it could be an interesting Brujah. A Dark Ages Brujah who has a more cool time-based things, and he's more cultured than you. You're forced to actually have to encounter it. It's not just simply, he's wearing X armor, he's probably got X defense rating, he's probably got this and this, and the gameist mentality. But narrative, the more narrative-focused players, people who come from storyteller or more flexible game engines, which, guess what? A lot of people have. Earlier on, someone made a comment of man, there's been more games that are being more focused on narrative. Well, it's because of the fact that players want a bit more. We're moving away from this aggressive DM versus player mentality where we're going through the adventure of the GM beating the shit out of us, and we have to fight our way through whatever it is, and it's an us versus them mentality. And yeah, even when you're running a pre-canned adventure, you're running the obstacles you're pushing through. You are the opposition. The players have to beat you to complete the story, to complete the module, so they can move on with the module, continue the adventure of the campaign. While a more narrative-focused game is not so confrontational. It's about, playing the character, and players want to do that. So you're seeing a lot of more modern games moving away from the adversarial GM versus players to, it doesn't have to be slice of life. It can be full of drama. It can be full of strife, pain, and sorrow, but it's not simply, here's some monsters, and for the next 8 hours, we're going to run a series of combat encounters. One after another with a small amount of downtime for you guys to buy some new gear, chit chat up somebody, and get your next quest to go off to the next combat wombat encounter. So you go up to you go up to your walrus boss, you ask him where his quest, he gives you the quest, you go out and murder some more people. And that's what you do. That's what Dungeons and Dragons ultimately is. And God help you if you want to expand it and give it, I don't know, some actual narrative backing. Give it some simulationist backing by making the economy actually function, or give it some personality. Oh fuck, the game wasn't designed for that. No, you're bringing skills and personality into my combat machine. And that's kind of what it always is, just as kind of crappy mentality. But people who came into it with the idea of, wait, I have multiple skills that can be used. Certain situations, can I use my gun skill for everything? Technically, yes. You can even use it for seduction if you're in the right environment. It's like charisma plus gun. You're a gun show. You're trying to get some of his attention. Yeah, you know what? I love guns. Here's my knowledge of guns. Charisma plus guns. I'm good. Gun skill for everything. The idea of being flexible, but unfortunately, we always default back to this game engine where it's like, no, everything is static. This is what you roll. This is the skill. This is the stat that powers the skill. This is what allows you to have the set bonus to an attack. This is your set damages. Good luck and good fucking luck. And that's so. Listen, a lot of people are moving away from that because now they kind of want to have a bit. GM is setting the environment. GM is setting the encounter. Players want a bit more input than simply sitting there on their asses, holding their hands, waiting for their turn so they can roll their dice, make their combat action, and then go back into standby stooge mode where you just sit there for the next 25 minutes waiting for your turn to go move 5 squares on the map, make your attack rolls, make somebody make a saving throw, roll your damage, and then go back to sitting there and spinning on a goddamn thumb. And I kind of
I really wish you could have seen some of my actual games. I ran a 25-year campaign with almost no combat.
That's great, but I guarantee you, if we're gonna go play some Dungeons and fucking Dragons, I guarantee you it's gonna come back down to 9 hours of fucking combat. And that's how it always fucking is. And I'm tired of that.
See, that's the thing. See, the game I was playing, it started out as D&D 30 years ago. It evolved to where we were using, we would change actual systems until we ended up with, something more or less our own. And combat was, like when we were playing in Baron's game last week, like I was told, if you get into combat, you've kind of done something wrong.
Right.
It's more of a different thing than anything else that's on the market. Let's put it that way.
Okay. Now the problem here is that we are veteran gamers who have been playing for a long time. So of course we're going to be this way. Unfortunately, I've had the fortune and misfortune of playing with a lot of new people routinely and regularly, and it does always hey, new game, awesome. Maybe we're going to it's combat, and I get excited going, hey, new character time. I actually get to play a game, and it's just combat, and I suddenly stop. I lose interest immediately. I know that's how almost every game master, unless I'm going in to say, hey, we're going to play an actual campaign of some Mage the Ascension level shit, or some Vampire the Masquerade, or some Legend of the Five Rings. Oh man, we're going to get some actual story. Oh, plot line, character, interaction. Oh, this would be fantastic. But if I know that, it's like, hey, I'm going to run some Pathfinder. Oh, good.
Well, yeah, you know me. I'm my favorite game of all time is Amber. Do you really picture me doing nothing but combat in Amber?
I understand that, but I'm now used to. I go to game stores or I sit down at other places and I go, hey, someone's going to run a campaign. Cool. I get to play a game. I get to be excited for a whole once. And then I get to, it's just combat. It's just going to be combat because that's all the game ever supports. So for the gamist, for the person who goes, I'm just here to play a game. I'm not here for the narrative. Narrative is hard. I don't know how to tell a good story. Simulation, fuck, I gotta actually understand how the world works in a good simulation. No. So the game gets pushed straight into game because game is easy. Rules are easy. Manipulate rules, simple. It's the bargain basement, low barrier to entry. Congratulations, you read a rule book, you know how mechanics work. Because you don't know how to function as a human being, dear God, social hard, and figuring out how to plan 3 steps ahead. Fuck, I fail at chess. I don't know how to do this. And this is why we always end up with, you might as well just throw simulation out the window because fuck, that requires math. Holy shit, that's hard. Oh fuck. And so it just becomes down to, oh yeah, and because you talk about economies, math, that's hard stuff, real hard. So it's either plot or game. And let's be honest, most people devolve into it's game. It's all about game and shoehorning you into horrible situations, and you just kind of ride the roller coaster until, well, I guess it's time for more fucking combat. And that's that's the game, right? That's what we're here to play, is the game. And if we're not rolling, and if my character sheet is 99% combat stats, why shouldn't I be using this at every opportunity? And I'm like, I have better things to do in my life. Like, if you don't mind, I'm just going to sit over here and paint miniatures or draw until it's my turn to see the murder fest is happening. Because then I'll just poke my head up and go, okay, I move 4 squares over here. I cast defensively. I cast my 1 spell, get my bonus action. I'm done.
I'm sorry, Guy. Fuck.
Break that.
Hey, Kai.
Not a single one of us is disagreeing with you.
No.
Right.
But it's just that, we're sitting here, we're really getting into it, and then that comment pops up and we're done.
I'm done.
Right.
See, the thing, I hate this fucking, I hate most of the fucking people who I game with. I literally hate them. I miserably hate them. I go to the sessions and I sit there and I go, man, here's all the cool things we could be doing. And we're not. I'm sitting here going here and I'm here to drink soda, eat overpriced junk food, and roll some fucking dice. And then I'm like, cool, I have this cool backstory. I have this cool musical different. I all this cool shit I like to do, and 7 hours of combat. Fuck yeah! I'm fucking here. This is the greatest thing. And here's your XP. Yeah! This is the best thing ever. And I go home.
Does anybody else hear Sam Kinnison
this
just
game.
right
Fuck
there?
everything.
I'm just saying. I hear, it's like I hear Sam Kelson or Sam, whatever his fucking name is,
Innocent.
coming out high.
Ow! 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 Ow!
Yeah. That was his emotion. I'm sorry.
It's all right.
Kai.
Every time I
quick
play a story game,
Wait,
I
before you ask that,
and I just hate this. And I go into stores, listen to people talk, and I'm like, oh, there's potential here. And then it gets crushed. And I'm like, oh good. We're all fucking miserable here. Welcome to just purgatory. I swear when I die, I'm gonna end up GMing for a bunch of fucking assholes like this for eternity. And I'm gonna be okay with this, because I'm gonna make them miserable. As miserable as they're making me. It'll be great.
there was a question for you, Kai, real quick before you
Kai,
Shadow.
real question.
Let's do the chat question first, though, Shadow, and then. Do you like Elizabethan literature? Legit question.
Sometimes, yes.
That tracks.
Okay.
All right, Shadow.
Okay. We noticed a moment ago that Jaide said that he was similar. No offense, man, Jaide, to what you were describing, and I've seen it. Being literally a dungeon master for 99.9% of my entire gaming experience. I didn't see a lot of what you're talking about. I saw some of it, but it was with specific people. Other players from the get-go, they were role players. They wanted, the combat was meaningless. It was the character and the interactions, etc. Do you think there's hope for any of these people, through experience and maybe boredom with what you're talking about? Is there a chance that some of these people can be,
shown the light?
Yes. And the
Oh
thing here-
wow! Let me wait, really quick. Let me pull the arrogant stick out of my ass, and so I can join into this conversation. Because
It's your
people
body.
want to play the games, they want to fucking play the way they want to fucking play them. Who am I will use me for example to tell somebody to browbeat them. How dare you play for 8 hours worth of combat if you but you really like that? No, you are a horrible player. How dare you?
Now,
because I do whatever the hell I want.
when I'm actually I don't yell at my players I don't yell at my GM and players. I just sit there bottling it up for 7 to 8 hours, and then I sit there and go, I'm going to go do something more. I do something else in my life now. And then they wonder why. Hey, Blaine, do you want to come back for a session? Sure, I'll come back. And then they just wonder, why do you just sit there quietly for hours on end? I'm like, because we're never going to do anything interesting. We're just going to go from combat to combat. Never mind the fact that I've got plenty of shit that I would love to do, but if it isn't about procuring more items, selling items, buying gear, prepping for the next combat, making items to go do the next combat, there's nothing to do because we're not given anything. Oh, sorry. Here's your roleplay interlude where here are your 3 places you may go to. Press L to go to library to do research. Press B to go to bar to go talk at bar. Press T to go to temple to get healing and talk to religious folk. You may now pray. I will go talk to wizard. Go to library. I shall do library. I have found library lore. Bard. I go to tavern. I roll tavern lore. I have talked to drunks. I now have tavern lore. Temple. I have talked to God. God has given me pointers. I shall now go out and do God's work and role play out that. And that is legitimately. I shall go to merchant. I am. You go to merchant. Merchant has items. You may now trade gold for items. Sell items to get more gold, so you may buy more items. You may also get advances like apothecary to buy potions and scroll master to go get scrolls. And but you only have 1d4 randomly generated item scrolls. None of them are useful. You may now spend your money on items of no value. This is some grand fucking.
I get where you guys are coming from, and maybe it's my blindness to the situation. But if I'm bored in the campaign, if I am utterly fucking bored in the campaign, I will get up and fucking leave. If the campaign does not interest me, I will say, hey, I'm out. Thanks for the invitation. I'm out.
And I've done that a lot. But the thing is that if I just keep walking away from everybody, I will end up where I'm almost at now, where it's like, wow, everyone's out having fun. Man, I have chosen to not have fun. So I will choose to not have fun with people than just to not have fun by myself.
Well, don't worry. Here in a couple weeks, Kai, me, you, and whoever else is dumb enough to come with us are going to go watch a shit show of a fucking movie and have some fun. And guess what it's called? Fucking Dungeons and Dragons, because we're already halfway fucking in there.
A movie, but the thing is, where I live now, I don't have the room to GM to have 6 to 8 people over and run a good campaign. I can't, and so trying to get people in a space that fits my schedule and their schedule is really difficult. So for right now, I don't get to have the ability to be a GM and run the way I would like to play. Instead, I gotta play with like blinders because I'm playing. real life issue, details that might be a little too actual real lifey, and no. But so, what are my options? Go to someone else's place, play under their rules, play under their schedule. Go to a store, play by their rules, play by their time limits. No, thank you. So therefore, I go and subject myself to other people's ideas, and then go, I don't want to do this.
Let me introduce you
I'd
to.
rather just be miserable in person than miserable by myself.
I don't know if said gentleman lives in the Two Towers in Peoria anymore, but he has this great big room. I can introduce you to, and you'll hear "Ain't got no luck, ain't got no chance," or "Roll that beautiful bean footage." One of those two things he does say a lot, and we'll give you room. We'll make it work. We will have a rehab for Kai area, a little safe zone for him to run for him and his buddies, and the world will be a happier place.
Probably would be, but I guarantee you it would not be Dungeons and Dragons or Pathfinder if I had my way. But you know what?
Wait,
What would it be,
hold on
Kai?
a second, Kai.
What would it be?
Kai, I think if somebody said, I'm running Ultimate Spheres of Power, Ultimate Spheres of Might style Pathfinder.
Yes, in a heartbeat. I actually do like that engine. That's because that is literally might as well be we're playing a different game entirely that just happens to have levels and D20s involved. The magic Spheres of Magic, which I have bookmarked on my computer because somebody else is running it right now, is just done. It is just Mage the Ascension, but in Dungeons and Dragons. So it's like I'm gonna play with your inferior, crappy, based on an ancient book no one's read, she spellcasting engine, and you go fuck itself. Or
I'm sorry. Sorry, guys. Sorry. Go ahead.
Or we're gonna play some. I swing sword. No. There's some really cool shit we could be doing. That's like some fucking awesome fucking shit and awesome details. Fuck it. This is what we should be doing. No, I run up there. I have my sword. I am a grandmaster in it. So I do a 3d10 instead of 1d10 damage. I am a grandmaster. I have put many points into being good with sword. I have rolled a number. It is currently 4 higher than it should be, for I am a grandmaster with sword. Does that hit your AC? No, for I have made myself grandmaster in defense. I have shield and good armor. You don't hit. Damn, my turn is wasted. Well, I cast my spell now. Did you make your saving throw? I did. Well, I did nothing of use. Excuse me while I sit here and go do nothing for a while. This is the grandest combat ever. Make your saving throw versus fire. Yay, fire. I made it.
I didn't mean to destroy that talk.
This is the game that we all want to play, right? Sure it is. Fuck yeah.
I think it's just really breaks down. It really breaks down into: is there different games that suit different people? Yes. Do all games suit everybody? No. Am I glad to be in a 8-hour campaign every other Saturday with Bruce? Yes. If I got invited to doing a 8-hour version of, let's say, Dark Heresy, which is mainly role playing, I'd be fucking ecstatic.
Because Dark Heresy kills you quick. One bad dice roll and you're missing a limb. And I love that.
The whole concept kind of reminds me of, there's 3 types of Magic players, or technically there's 4, but there's like one that wants to burn the world. The other one wants to, invade it with green hippies. The other one wants to make dead things coming back. And the last one, who fucking cares?
The other one wants to tell you no a lot.
That's number 5.
Yeah.
The blue-white decks tell you no.
Yeah, blue tells you no.
No.
Yeah, I wouldn't know about that either.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Go fuck themselves.
Blue white supremacy. Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, he's not describing his skin in eye color, right?
One traveler for more than 2.5 picoseconds. Man,
Right, Kai?
Traveler's the best game. You're going to roll character creation, and then everybody's going to wander around being confused about what to actually do. And the GM kind of flails madly with some really, God damn it. Could you at least have a plan what we're going to do? Obviously not. And it might as well just devolve down to who's got the power armor battle rattle, and who's going to obliterate everything in combat while the rest of us just sit there and cheer him from the background and go, "Go Space Marine! Yeah! Space Marine!"
I mean, I've looked into Traveler. It looks interesting. Depends on your DM.
It's the best game that everyone says they play, but nobody fucking runs it, and nobody's going to play it. And it's the best game. I'm going to sit back and go, man, I would love to play this. It's in Twilight.
I'm in a Sunday game with 28 millimeter. It's a lot of fun.
It is a lot of fun, and I know it's a lot of fun. It could be a lot of fun, but man, I'm going to go out and look for me some games. Man,
Choice between playing Traveler or watching Star Trek. I think I'd rather watch Star Trek. It gets to the point sooner.
I literally will never watch Star Trek again. I'm so done with that. Never. I can't think of a single reason to watch
I'll play
it.
Traveler.
Show me on this transporter beam where the original series touched you.
No, it's not the original series. That was one of the only good series out there. Everything else was woke garbage from Next Generation on. I don't need people shoving their woke agenda down my throat. Not going to
I
happen.
really like Deep Space
Okay.
Nine.
Yeah.
But these days, that's also just Babylon Black Light. So
Buy that argument. Never buy another book. Never buy another song. Don't go anywhere. Stay in your room and play Circle Jerk with you and your cat.
Don't have any cats. But otherwise, you're pretty cool.
Sit there.
I'm really of the mindset that this topic has got people to find their aneurysm level.
I think it's
Good.
my hypocrisy.
We really went like this with Kai and aimed him at everybody tonight. Jeez.
Right. Let's just say,
I don't know, man. We haven't seen Jade in about a half hour. I'm wondering if, he's just no
He's drunk over there, probably.
I think that you run tables, you find a group that you can put up with. You elect one of the people to be the DM or storyteller, whatever term you want to use for X, Y, and you just go with it. You don't, I'm not going to tell somebody how to fucking play. My hypocrisy only goes so fucking far.
Kai, 28 millimeter RPG is inviting you to a game. So he's in. If he's not in my Discord, then I know he's in other people's Discords.
I always feel lucky when he shows up on the whenever I do a show. I'm like, hey, it's that guy.
And
I figure people didn't want to hear me coughing constantly, so I've muted myself.
Oh,
You okay?
how is it going, by the way?
Long-term players really are the people who just need weirder and more specific games, because coming back down to general generics is lackluster. I know it's what everyone wants, like what the baseline is. It's very.
I hate to say it. You'd probably hate me as a DM because I run a certain type of way, and I have two groups that are very much happy with the way that I fucking run because that's the games that they want to play.
Right. The thing is that I know that what I want is not common. I know that I would like to do something more interesting. It's like I used to play a lot of Vampire, but then we encountered Elysium level play, and I'm like, this is where I want to play. This is where I want to operate. I want to operate on the point where the technocracy has to actually pay attention to me. and I can actually interact with that. I want to that was the level of that was the point when I stopped playing Vampire and jumped headlong into playing Mage the Ascension, but not as a traditionalist, because I want to be able to manipulate cities, nations, and cities, states, and countries. That's the technocracy. You don't play a traditionalist if you want to actually be the people who actually see. Here's the thing: is it role play about supposed to be about trying to do the thing that you can't do in real life? Well, I don't run the world in real life. I want to run the world in a game. God damn it, because I can't. I don't want to be a punk. I'm already a pissed off, angry punk trying to fight the world in real life. Why do I want to do that? But now I have superpowers. Yay, good wish fulfillment. Yeah, I'm much oppress the goddamn universe. Thank you very much.
I'm gonna find somebody and browbeat them enough to play, let's say, Kingmaker through whatever fucking system that we all agree on, and you can run a kingdom, a world. Hell, we could do it through Starfinder, because you can have your own fucking planet to begin with.
I think I have that book. Okay, so anyway, BattleTech campaign operations allows you to actually generate an actual entire world, and it's tech based, and it's basic, and gives you ideas on how to actually start working on building up everything you need. Now, this is a simplified, actually slightly better version of the Traveler engine, which is an actually amazing system. System generation.
What book was that?
So therefore, if I want to mix that with Empire running, there's where's it at? It's over here somewhere. There it is. There we go. We got Imperial Starfire and Starfire, which great for running empires at major scale. Therefore, you could start by starting system, running with this, building with this, and then working out.
Too fast, guy. Nobody can see that.
A little bit of Traveler thrown in there. We got some other fun game that we just pull shit from. There's plenty to do that can make so much more awesome and interesting than simply here's a combat encounter. I'm like, oh fuck. Okay.
No, what I want for combat encounters, I want to drop Harry Dresden, on a Borg ship and see how long it takes the Borg ship just to tweak,
break apart. Because okay, at that point you're dealing with somebody who's the equivalency to a null character.
That sounds like fanfic.
It's like, so it's kind of like saying if you know the Caiaphas Cain series, like Jurgen, he's a psychic null. He causes problems amongst any psychic character. Great for like ruining psychic characters, demons, and Tyranid swarms, because he's just in the area and oh shit, Synapse I locked out and demons are now like, what, the warp? I can't do shit? Oh fuck. And it's like, yeah, Dresden does it. That's a cool I like that idea. I like the idea of the tech, being in a tech heavy world and being the anti-tech asshole whose mere presence ruins everything around it. That's a fun storyline thing, because now you got complications and interesting ways of running it. That's a more narrative focus than simply going, what do I have a mechanical way of how much fuckery Dresden does to my machinery? No, there isn't a mechanical set. Okay, there probably is somebody who actually has the rules for this, but I haven't looked that hard into any of the Dresden Files games because no.
You're missing out. They're very well written.
I guess I had the encounter with the Dresden RPG that's all about here's your keywords, and I was just like, no.
Oh, the fate system for Dresden Files. I've been hammering through that one. It sounds like it's an interesting game style, but I would play it, but I would not run it. That would be a game I would not be comfortable running.
The reason I think you should run it because it is written aimed at the Dresden readers. It's like, okay, question, Connell. How would you describe Butters?
5'6", curly, long hair, Glasses, short, roundish, loves to play polka. It has
Plays
a
a
magical
mean
degree.
accordion.
What?
He plays a mean accordion. Don't forget that.
He plays the mini
Said that.
accordion. As of right
And he has a
now,
lightsaber.
he has a lightsaber and a talking skull.
And he also has a very big love affair with Arcana CRPG.
Oh God, yeah. And he is in a 3-way relationship with werewolves.
But
That's
You-
brave.
Bitters or Butters, the way they describe him in the books, typically he's very anxious looking. He's nervous. He doesn't look confident, unsure of himself. And they just took all those words I just used, and they use those. They make those words gamer statistics in that world. So yeah, Fate might be super simple for some people, but for the narrative gamer, it really works because it gives you that narrative gamist bam right there. No, there's no simulation in it.
I think I made a mistake though when I played it. I was only on book 2 of the series.
Oh yeah.
The GM ran it, and I'm like, I have no idea what the fuck's going on here. Now, mind you, I stopped reading around book 6 or 7. So
You got some catch up. There's a lot of things have happened. People have died. The race is
what?
no
People
longer.
actually die in the series? I'm surprised.
What? Yeah, people died. He died.
Yeah, he actually started killing off a lot of the players.
Woo!
Oh man.
Well, it had more weight when
Freaking
Morgan
know
died.
it.
Errant Dragon's like, Starblazer Adventures is great space science fiction fate RPG, and it's also not published by Evil Hat.
Wait,
I'll
we
have to look into that one.
actually have
I'll
a
have to look
Starblade
into that one because
out there?
someone tricked me into buying an Evil Hat book last week or so, but I'm still gonna review it, give it a fair chance because it was published in 2019, so there is a chance that it won't suck.
You mean I get to? Is there an actual role playing game where I get to play this setting? This?
Oh,
this
dude! Oh
setting?
my god, dude! That was so much fun.
This is the best game I no longer own all the miniatures for.
You know what? I know the feeling.
But
Put that damn thing out.
very well loved, very well abused. But this technical manual, I love this game. I love this world so very much.
I need a drink, guys. I'll be right back.
Yeah, that was a great game, Kai.
It was. It's beautiful. I'm sorry. I could run an entire I would love to just. Now, mind you, I could avoid the White Common Empire for a while. Anything after that, the Bolar War, no thank you. On the 1 year of the actual voyages, or the interim era, where that year of the gap between the end of the Gamelin Empire and all the fallout that could be happening that was expanded upon in the Reimagined series. I would love to just to have some fun out there with you don't need to be the principal warship or even like an Andromeda. You can just run around on any a Borodino or something out there and having some adventures out out in the stars. Fuck, why not? No, whatever. I'm sorry.
Wow, it's
No,
really
you're
coming
fine.
down.
It's
Dang.
just,
I'm gonna be able to make a snowman tomorrow.
put down the cocaine.
Don't give it to a bear.
Don't give it to a bear.
Hold on. Can you see that? Can you see that shit?
Wait, you get snow in California?
Yeah.
Up
Yeah,
where I live, yeah.
send
Oh,
it
yeah.
up here to Illinois.
Don't send up the. No. What's wrong with
you-
you?
Jade,
I
you
own
know
two
darn
snow
well
dogs.
Oh,
You know
that's
darn well.
fair.
You know darn well it'd be water when it got there.
Unfortunately, yes.
If it goes through Missouri, it'll be mainly meth.
I'm sorry for
Oh.
having misconception, gone off on a whole different tangent rather than thinking it was far different than what it actually was. I'm sorry.
This time,
I dare you to point out the video you didn't.
What, misconceptions? I was saying, thinking Star Blazers and then thinking, Star Blazers, not I was excited the idea that somebody might have actually made a good RPG for Space Battleship Yamato, and I'm like, yay! No, it's not. Oh, but I want giant space combat. That's actually fun.
Lady, do you use Rifts or do you use Robotech? Because I think either would work.
Macross 2?
The
Which is
Palladium
All
game.
right, there's still a game that I think both Kai and myself are waiting on, which is actually the Honorverse made into an RPG.
I want a good Honorverse game, and not the oh fuck, is it
Battle Cruiser 3080.
Adventure game.
So I have somebody game with almost every Tuesday who has basically made a variation of Honorverse. He hasn't turned it into an RPG game as of yet, but he's got the ships and he knows the story back and front. And I'm pretty sure if I browbeat him enough, he could probably put a story into it with it. So that could be a thing.
There's so much story that could be done in that universe.
I just hope Honorverse never goes woke.
I don't think it ever will.
I don't think enough people fucking read it to it for it to go woke.
No, I don't think Weber knows how to write that way.
That too.
Weber cribs so heavily from certain sources. I don't think he would know how to. Come on, we need the adventures of female space Admiral Nelson, Lord Commander Queen of 3 or 4 systems. I'm not okay with this, but I'm okay with this.
So Kai, I got to ask you this:
Yeah.
if you're playing in the Honorverse,
Yeah.
what type of resolution mechanic do you want? Do you want something that's more simulationist? Do you want something that's more gamist to reflect the naval actions?
The thing is that yeah. Go ahead.
Or do you? I'm just asking.
The thing here is that I like the earlier books than I did the later books, because when it was still more. Hey, you took hold but back when you still had to worry about, oh crap, a missile got through the laser defense clusters and hit and smacked into the ship. There's now damage on fire between frames 36 through 42, and we've lost the induction. One of the main one of the main coils is offline. Plus the sensors are down. That was the fun era of the books. When it started to move away from that and into Podnauts, sad. Much sadness.
Quick question, because I'm probably not the only person. Maybe I am. What is Honorverse? Never even heard of it until now.
It's a series of books written by David Weber it's the Honor Heritage series. It's pretty much a glorious adventure in with a space empire known as the Star Kingdom of Manticore. I think I actually have the flag over here somewhere. Yeah, I do. Okay. Yeah, so anyway, Star Kingdom of Manticore. And
oh, okay, I thought it was a big one.
I'm sorry, it's only a small one. I can't afford the big ones because they're big. I don't have room for them on the walls. But I mean, in short, you're dealing with this it's not empire, kingdom against a far bigger space evil communist France that's trying to launch a naval war to crush this small little kingdom because it needs more money to continue supporting its communist horrible empire, and other weird shit that keeps on happening. And then in the background, you have the Terrans in the background going, we could just sweep in there and beat the shit out of all of you. And eventually that does happen. But hey, there's a lot of fun shit that happens in this book series. It's a nice space it's a nice space lore full of people scheming and other weird shit happening and politics in the background and Grayson and sorry, it's Grayson. And like there's a lot of really weird stuff that happens. It's a fun universe. But if you know Horatio Hornblower, you know how this story's going. The moment you go, oh, it's Horatio Hornblower? You mean it's the retelling of Admiral Nelson's storyline? Okay, cool. And at that point, you go, okay, I now understand what I'm about to read, watch, and enjoy. And yeah,
Captain Picard, the first 2 seasons.
No, it's actually good.
Oh,
it's actually good. Plus, space combat isn't quick. It's quick, but not quick. Where you have like combat lasts for like 20 minutes to several days because of maneuvering. It isn't just simply you park your ships 2.5 ships apart, in Star Trek combat range because, sir, it's the Borg cube. It's 3 kilometers square. Quick, pull the Enterprise within 3 starship lengths of the giant cube of death, and we'll talk to it. And then it's like Star Trek, fantastical technology, everything's so great. First contact, ships are literally flying so close you can see the fucking windows.
Hey! We leave First Contact alone because even the
I will not.
Millennium Falcon even fought against the Borg.
Look, but the glorious super space commie empire was so high tech, has to go up into butt fuck range to do anything to the grand evil giant cube that's just flying there going, I am firing pew pew green bolts and ships explode because I fire tractor beams. But like it looks cool on screen, but I'm sitting here going, dear God, it's all fucking shiny explosions for brain dead people. This is supposedly our high-tech, super-duper-de-ooper future? No, thank you. No, thank you at all. So anyone who goes, oh, the Borg are invincible, they have to fly up there to guy walks out and slaps you in the face range to do anything.
Meanwhile, remind me to show you my Horatio Nelson walking stick one of these days.
Nice. But the best part about reading the Honorverse is space combat takes place at stupendously long ranges. Like, it's insane how ranges are. And some of the fights are like, okay, we've predicted where that guy is going to be in like 35, 40 minutes. If we shoot on a ballistic ranges, like where people are like firing ballistically and watching ships just, like missiles just fly for like 45 minutes and then ooh, shoot. Bad shit happens. People die. It's a fantastic thing. Oh, and actual damage reports that actually sound more interesting than simply, oh, hey, daycare on decks 32 through 43, even though our ship only has 14 fucking decks. Fuck you, Star Trek. Man, we have 23 decks. Deck 28 is currently on fire. We don't even have that. Where did that deck come from? The Enterprise.
Refit.
Right. Mind you, let's see here. No, I would like to say no. Star Trek 5 can go fuck itself because this little book says no, it doesn't have that many fucking decks. But fuck you, Star Trek 5. Or the Discovery has a fucking TARDIS part inside of it. Ooh, space combat. Star Trek is so fantastic.
Well, I don't speak for Discovery. I think that's a hot piece of shit that no one should have to watch.
No.
So move. I think we've covered the gaming side pretty heavily with this one. So I think what we should probably do is move on to the next one, which would be Jaide. What's the next one we were going to discuss?
Either Simulationist or Narativist.
Actually, because I think simulationist or simulationism is a good one to kind of roll right into here. So simulationism is a playing style recreating or inspired by a genre or source. So you're talking about like the Star Trek, the Conan, the things along those lines.
Monsters and Bases?
Yes.
It goes beyond just that. Like you can also include like homebrewed genres or homebrewed game worlds or settings, and you can also include things like Faerun or Eberron or any of the named settings. Like you're playing within a setting, so you're playing within that simulation.
Yes, and there's one that I'm going to reach back here and grab a book myself. This would be considered,
Polis.
Polis. That would be considered one of the simulationists because you're playing within the boundaries of a city. There's dungeons underneath the city. You're part-time adventurers. You go down in the dungeon for a few hours, come back up and sleep in your bed every night.
So, real quick, wait, did somebody leave?
Yeah, Bruce went backstage. He had to take care of something.
Okay. So if I'm understanding this correctly, because when I first heard simulationist, I thought something completely different, and maybe many of us did as well. So simulation is actually referring to more or less keeping the game like within its own IP, for example.
Or it could be looked at as
Coloring
the
within the
idea
lines.
of a persistent, consistent world where things actually do seem to, where things radiate out, and you're not the center of the story. You're a part of a bigger world that will continue to, that your actions can ripple out, yes, but actions can ripple in from parts of the world to you. It's the idea of the world is a simulation. You're operating within it. You're not the central unique special snowflake. You're part of a bigger experience. Like to use Ptolis as an example, you are but one person in a very large city. That large city can easily crush you back if you push too hard against it.
So probably something that a lot of people are very opposed to these days.
Or not opposed to, but the idea is that it caters to a different mentality. For the people who want the slice of life, you're part of a bigger world mentality. It's that's what you're aiming it towards, and where you're just functioning in it. So yeah, so players might actually like the idea of a consistent world where, hey, you killed somebody, that has got consequences, and it changes the balance of power. You help someone, your your actions influence things in the world past that, and it lingers on. So the idea of the longer you play, the more you generate canon, the more the world grows around you. You're simulating the world. It isn't just simply an encounter that you're going to be for just this moment, and then moving on to the next scene. You're still leaving an echo of you behind you for as long as you're playing.
And the game that I actually ran is a good example of that, because that is a buddy of mine's world where the squee are in, and because I use the
I would say yours is more narrative.
But the thing is that things were put in place in games before that for you guys to go to Glass to have to battle them and everything else.
The reason I say it's more narrative is while we are playing in that world, it is not congruent material. Like it is adjacent material, and the narrative can be changed at a moment's notice. because of the Feywilds. The Feywilds can kind of rewrite huge swaths of that world at a moment's notice, and the players have to keep up. And that's why I think it's more narrative driven than simulation. A game world like the Chronicles of Magic setting that my buddy and I have been writing all these years is very simulationist, because we have, as we wrote the world, we stuck to what we wrote. The continents are set in place. The countries that are in those continents are set in stone. They might change borders from time to time, but the people there don't really change all that much. They have customs, they have greetings and languages. And all of those places can be explored in the world at any given time. And because the way we built that game system or that setting, we can pull up the notes on the Terran Commonwealth at any given moment and run any kind of material out of the Terran Commonwealth. I could run Keo, the City of Dragons, at a moment's notice because I have the pamphlet. I have the printed material of what Keo is, and it's all one consistent world, no matter what era it's in. So that to me is more of what the simulation is it's the world is completely unbending. Like the only bending part of that simulation is when I allow time travel to happen. But am I really allowing narrative to overwrite the simulation, or am I running a parallel world? Connell, you've been in my homebrew setting of Chronicles of Magic twice.
Sure.
And is the world consistent?
Yeah.
From place to place.
Unless something major happens, it is fairly consistent. Even when you did the multiverse bubble campaign, nothing in the world changed. It just happened to be two different timelines. One where the demons, one part where the ancient dragons and all that failed, and the other one where it wasn't. I mean, 5e, for my own situation, 5e is I play in Forgotten Realms. I run that world. I know more about that world than I ever fucking wanted to, but that's the world I run into. So when I run my modules or campaigns, it's mainly the modules. It's very much in that world. Not anything changes. Waterdeep is still Waterdeep. Gonto Grim is still Gonto Grim. I mean, pick somewhere on the map, and it's still in the same place with the same fucking people and putting up with the same fucking bullshit. And
my argument against the Exalted World that Todd and Baron have both run is having played in 2-3 different games in that same game world. The way I experienced it all 3 times was different, and different enough that it almost felt like a separate world from the first, because none of the things that the characters in the first game that I played in had any bearing whatsoever on what was happening, even though those characters may have had some ability to influence what was happening to the second story, because we were in an adjacent area to the first story. And then this last story that Baron ran, we started out at the lap, and again, a lot of the stories that happen that I've played in that world, they all take place in or around the lap, and each time it's slightly different, and it's the narrative choice of the storyteller system that drives the game more so than the world and the player actions driving the what the narrative story. So that's why I think Exalted is very much more narrativism than it is simulation. I would say games more like World of Darkness are very much simulation by comparison to Exalted. Again, with Exalted, you could have things change at a moment's notice because you strayed too close to the Feywild, and suddenly your entire perception of physics changes. And that's built into the game. Like that is a part of Exalted. And because the Feywilds can do a lot of really kooky shit. And it's up to the game master on how they want to narrate what happens. Whereas in World of Darkness, pick your poison: vampire, werewolf, mage, changeling, or otherwise hunter. The world has set limitations. So physics is a thing, and it's unchanging. Yes, vampires do get celerity, and they can act faster than the human eye can see in a lot of ways, but they're still bound by the same basic laws of physics that humans are and hunters are. So to me, World of Darkness is very much more a simulation than Exalted.
I haven't played enough Exalted, nor have I tried to run it. But the only argument I could possibly make is you spend X amount of time, you create a world in using Exalt as the engine, and Chicago, LA is LA, Ireland is Ireland, so forth, and you just permanently pin where these places are in the world with its cultures around it, and you can kind of make it work. You can turn it that way.
Yeah.
But the DM...
Yeah, if you were running it as an engine, not a system or setting.
Yeah. I mean, some settings are really fucking cool. I enjoy, like I said, 5e, the Forgotten Realms. I think it's a really fun setting. I'm also used to it. I know more about it than I ever fucking wanted to. I'm not thrilled with fucking Pathfinder's world. I think it sucks.
Not wrong.
I think it's a fun system. I just think the world could have been worked out better.
I mean, even though I'm running more index card RPG material, I'm not really using the index card RPG settings like Alfheim, Warp Shell, Ghost Mountain, Vigilante City, or even Blood and Snow. I'm not really using the pre-built settings. It's not that I don't like them. I like the settings just fine. They're just not mine. And I prefer my own game world and my own setting and my own simulation, basically.
I am the guy who doesn't mind jumping into other people's IP, especially if I see an interesting story that could be used in it. I mean, going back to the Dresden Files, we got from Dresden's Life Forwards. We don't have anything behind Dresden, like McCoy's time period or Merlin going all the way back. We just have Dresden and some of the stories he's told. So if I jump into an IP like that, there is a large deal of time that I could play around with. Yeah, I'm just using that for the example. Plus, it's fucking Chicago. It's America. Read a couple history books about where area you want to work.
It's our world, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, I can see.
I mean, at that point, what's the difference between that and fan fiction?
Not much, realistically, but it might make a fun game. Who fucking knows?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to argue that. Like, yeah, they've actually got their own Dresden Files rule set for Fate. So you can actually play in that game world and run games in that game world. And like, that's the whole point of IP-based settings, is so you can run your fan fictions in those game worlds.
That actually is a good system for Dresden.
Say again?
I think it's a good system for Dresden.
Fate,
a lot of people will disagree with me because they hate Fate, but if they actually look at the book And if they listen to Jim Butcher describe the book and how he would run it, because he's a lifelong tabletopper. He actually got into the book publishing because he was at a event like a gaming con, but it was like Dago here or something, and there was a lady from some publishing company, and he was talking with another person about Amber Diceless Roleplay, and she's like, if you would have told me about that, I would have passed your book along, and actually we could have gotten this published 2 years ago. And he's like, what? So, Fate's a really good system. It's just that a lot of people, like, you have people like, 28mm RPG, he bitches about D&D because of it's a combat system. And, not many people do much more than combat. Okay, that's great. But anybody could, if Traveler would have been the first RPG out in the world, people be bitching about how Traveler is nothing but fucking combat. It's nothing but combat. It's nothing but shipboarding actions. It's nothing but Kopek out there just rolling his 4 administrative brokerage dice, and he's making millions of credits hand over fist, fucking over the rest of the economy, and he's bending over people left and right with his brokerage, and that's what they would be bitching about. But D&D is known for combat. Go ahead.
But how would I be able to afford to man and maintain a high guard cruiser? I need to have somebody who can bend a planetary economy to keep one of those in service.
Like I said, I need to introduce you to Jeff Kopek. You guys, I mean, if you can get past
He knows Jeff.
Do you?
Yes, he knows Jeff.
Probably.
You've met him before. He's a crotchety old fucker.
Okay, you have no idea how little that has narrowed down the description.
Yeah,
he's a tiny 5'8" man that he used to be a Illinois State, I want to say, assessor, tax worker, revenue guy, and he worked with numbers all the time. So whenever he would start playing in your Traveler campaign, there was really no difference from his day job to what he was doing now. Just now he got to play with unlimited funds, not funds that the city of Chicago would limit him with.
Yes, he would go. He would plot from plot A to plot B and figure out how much money that was going to make him. And while he was traveling, he was sitting there playing his banjo until they put the banjo out the airlock.
With that,
you have to ask your lady about that one.
I will. No, I don't see a problem with this. I do believe you just described a few of my friends in excruciating detail. I used to get like where people are like, we are playing this. We are not playing accountancy and trade routes. And I'm like, but I want to do that. And meanwhile, like me and another player, we're sitting here putting on green visors, like the old accountancy visors. And we're like, we'll get back to you later. And everyone's like, what's going on? We're making sure that our
personally
budget
attacked by you guys sometimes because you always bitch about combat. And I'm over here, painting up more miniatures that are going to be on the battle mat. The entire fucking time, this entire year of running Tablebreakers, I've painted over fucking 320 figurines over the course of that year. And you guys are bitching about combat. Now the game is not the combat. Shh.
Hey. I know what I know that I bitch about that. I don't know what other people being so against it. I know I am, but then again, I consider it a lot of fun to be to figure out what payroll is going to be for the man of war the party has managed to get to figure out how we're going to pay the crew to and figure out our current supply usage, so that way we can continue to. So that way, when the GM throws shit at us, he's like, and then a storm knocks out half your food, and we're like, oh, good, we still have 45 days of food left, and we go to half rations. We can make it somewhere else. And the GM, well, your sales get tattered. Well, that's okay. We've made sure we have spare sail and canvas, and we've also hired a canvas maker. And I'm trying to make this more interesting. We also like the idea of making it interesting. You have now added more math that we have to do over here. And the GM, fuck you. And we're like, that's okay. We'll get to you our updated spreadsheets on expenditures later. And that's okay. Fine.
You know, honestly, if I would have known you, Kai, and we were all sitting down playing Pathfinder's Kingmaker, when it came time to do all the heavy paperwork, I would have just gathered it all up. I said, Kai, we're going to do combat over here. It's okay. I just want you to sit here, plunk, and tell us how much points we have for the next month. You do your thing, kitty. You do your thing, kitty, and we'll go do our thing.
And I'll be okay as long as you don't drag me into combat that I don't want to be in. Go ahead.
Right.
Now, combat that makes sense in a story. I'll be like, yeah, I'm up for this. But random acts of violence, no.
How do you feel about burning witches?
I don't know. What have they done wrong? Why am I burning witches?
They were witches in a wooden farmhouse. I'm just throwing that out there.
Have they done? What have they done? Why do I need to get out my inquisitorial pin?
I don't remember. I just know it was Kingmakers, and we had to fight.
What? I have more Aquila than brains, so therefore, why am I burning down the witches?
Because they're bad and they had to go.
Because they're witches. Because they're witches.
Okay. So that obviously they're creatures of the warp. We must kill them. I understand. I understand now. Rules have been established. Murder must occur.
Okay. Just wondering. I mean, it's just something I ran into in Kingmaker. You burned down a house full of witches. They were evil witches. Where's the problem here?
Suffer not the witch to live. I understand this.
Well,
all the kill mutants and the warp, and this is the warp and heritage.
Actually, thou shalt not let a evil witch to live. I know it's funny translation.
Correction. Thou shalt not allow a poisoner to live. Is the original.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm quoting the order. The Inquisition for 40K, at which point we burn all psychers who aren't sanctioned, and the Xenos must die, and the mutant and the heretic. There's a lot that must die. It's great. Look, if you're telling me that we're operating under 40K Inquisition rules, we're playing a whole different game now, and I'm up for this. I'm so up for the idea of pulling out all my inquisitorial gear and going, let's start this fun thing. And if it ends with a small city on fire, that's okay. The inquisitorial seal says I'm allowed.
So I think we basically all answered. I don't know if Shadow. The question was. I think we've slightly talked about it. I mean, the second part of it. I mean, the only thing. I don't know. I got nothing. I'm freshly out of cigars. I was told there was going to be one in the mail, and without my cigars, I can't think straight. Yeah, that or I need to go skiing with white stuff.
Drugs are bad. Okay.
I said skiing.
I'm just waiting for the 9th of March.
Yeah.
We're
all gonna die.
What's the 9th of March?
That's when Bruce runs his game.
Oh, yeah. Wait. No.
And the thought behind it is that, yeah, it's a very crunchy front-loaded game where you know the previous things that happened to your character at level 1. Growing up, you know what happened to you. It's not a World of Darkness game or a game like Cult where you have deep psychological scars. It's a game where you are basically a 15-year-old kid at level 1, just the type of game that Kai wants to play, and it treats most people. The average person in the world is going to be between 4th and 10th level. either they've got ranks of commoner or levels of commoner or aristocrat or something, but they've been around, they've done stuff, so they can take things like a really bad accident with their wagon and have a head injury, and they might come out of it okay because they have enough to where they can manifest and soak enough. It's got exploding die damage, which some people are excited about. It's got it's got some other mechanics to it that are different too, like the combat initiative system is different, but the majority of the 4 hours I'm going to run you guys through is basically problem solving and talking with people and trying not to let the people around you get so fed up with the miserable weather and the fucking donkeys and all the things that could go possibly wrong to where you lose control of your cool. You don't lose your chill factor. You are able to still function no matter what. Yeah, you have an opportunity where you can lose like 6 donkeys off the side of a cliff face because that's the road that you've got to travel from this miserable dwarven village to civilization. And you've got to be able to weather the storm. You've got to be able to talk to people. You've got to be able to interact. And then whenever the worst things happen, like you get ambushed by bandits, hopefully you don't lose your ass. Yes, Squirrel Hermit, very Hackmaster-esque.
My
If
question,
Hackmaster and Harnmaster had a baby in the 3.0 engine or 3.5 engine or the PF engine, but it was all percentile based, that would be this game.
why donkeys? Why is it always donkeys with you?
Because they're tamer and easier to handle than horses.
Yeah,
I'm just curious. I mean,
yeah.
just
You can handle relatively untrained people can still get a team of donkeys down a pass. But the pass you guys are going to be going on is not something that first-time donkey handlers are going to be doing. Your characters have known each other for years. You guys see each other 6 months out of the year because you go up this pass and you spend it with the fucking dwarves over the winter. And then as the thaws start to hit, that's when you start plotting your return. And you guys are responsible for a nation to receive the amount of coin that is expected to be circulated, newly brought into the system. So you're not putzes.
so I can't play Billy Crystal.
Yes, you can probably say
Billy
that.
Crystal, somebody's going to be Jack Palance, somebody's going to, yeah, Daniel Stern's going to be in there.
Right. Well, I want to be Buford Pusser.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I'm going to have the 5 basic food groups in there: fighter, magician, rogue, and diviner or cleric.
No banjo
And bard.
Oh, and bard. I was wondering if we're going to be bard.
Yeah, you're going to have a bard in there.
So are you going to pre-gen these characters there, Haas?
I will.
All right, because realistically, that's probably the way we should all go. Especially for one shots.
It's a one shot. I do I expect you guys to live? It's a possibility. I'm going to create 5th level characters. The basis for the game is going to be 30 levels, atypically, but up to 36 levels are going to be detailed in the final design document.
30 fucking levels.
Yeah.
That's not really that much, believe it or not, depending on
No,
how
I'm
you play.
used to playing higher
I
levels.
mean-
But it's been such a hot minute since I've been in any of those games.
It's about context. A 20 level game compared to a 30 level game compared to a 50 level game. It's all about context.
Right.
So I mean,
I'm fucking scared to roll anything past
like-
fucking 15.
4E, D&D 4E was a 30 level game.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah,
Really
compare
good
that
idea.
to 3.5. 3.5 was a 20 level game. It's the context that matters and the power curve.
Right, and I get that. But I said, was it feels like most people I deal with anymore that I game with, and it pisses me off. They're scared to run anything past fucking 15. Because in my opinion, games are really just really getting going by the time we're 15th level.
Depends on the group, the game.
Yeah, it really does. This
It's
game
like,
is not a
I
very
want Bruce's-
fast-moving game.
The current game that Bruce is, I'm in with Bruce, I want that to go all the way up to fucking 100. I just, I'm enjoying the fuck out of it. I just wish you'd let me play a fucking shifter. That's all.
Shifter?
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Don't worry about it. Not important.
I just really want to play the race.
Eberron race
once.
that has lycanthropy-esque powers.
Yeah. Okay. But no, I'm looking forward to this. If you five could give me like which of the basic food groups you'd prefer to play and what your focus you want to be.
I will be the paladin.
What? That'll be the fastest path paladin to fighter demotion promotion I've seen.
I can play a paladin. I have faith in myself. Don't give me that look.
I don't know what to say. Well, anyway, that's the 9th of February.
I wouldn't put money on
I've played lawful good characters before without getting rashes.
For Shadow, the books I use for Star Blazers Rifts is the Megaverse Builder and the Fleets of
Got it.
Three Galaxies, along with the other outer space books like Phase World and Mutants in Orbit.
Got it. I actually own all those books. Those are good books, actually. A lot of fun.
Lady, have a good night, man. Get some rest.
Jeez.
We're about that time.
Bruce,
Go ahead.
anything but Bard and Priest, I can run with.
Okay.
I'll take the priest. Why not?
I bet. Never mind.
Watch your tongue. You may
I'm
lose it.
serious. I play the paladin.
There's not a paladin.
Okay.
Paladins are an event that happens later in play, and
Okay.
you've like I took a hint from I kind of copied Hackmaster 5e on this because like Hackmaster 5e is a 20 level game, but like actually it's a 10 level game stretched into 20 levels. Those people that play it know what I'm talking about. But around 15th level is your first opening from Cavalier to Paladin. And while I appreciate that, I'm not going to do that. But I am going to do something like that to where Paladins you have to evolve into it. You just can't. I'm 16 years old and I'm a Paladin. Oh, fuck you, kid.
And I'm a
I'm
gnome.
evil. No, I don't think that's real.
I didn't want to be a gnome paladin.
With a riding dog named Ambrosius.
Exactly.
Ambrosius!
I just need to go watch the Labyrinth like 4 times in a row before we start playing this.
Nah, if you wanna study up, I would not recommend Convoy, the movie with Chris Christopherson, but if you want to watch it.
That Kai. Poor Kai.
I no longer want to hear people give me shit about the movies I watch.
I love C.W. McCall. That's all I'm gonna say.
I mean, what movie am I thinking? Would Smokey and the Bandits be more appropriate?
Smokey the Bandit might be okay, but I don't really. I think the movie Pathfinder would be the best thing you could watch
Oh God.
with
That movie could've
Carl
been-
Urban.
Yeah, I know the movie. I own it.
It's his low point. Okay, nothing's wrong with Convoy, Charlotte.
I thought his low
Convoy's a
point-
great film. It's just that it's not the movie I want them to really focus on, like for the theming of this adventure. It's going to be more like the movie Pathfinder when they're on the god awful mountain passes and almost, falling to their deaths. That's going to be like the image I want in their heads. Like this could happen at any moment. and we have 6 weeks of a trek down these hex crawl pathways on the mountain.
I'm sorry, I've been so attacking this entire night.
You're fine.
And Bruce is,
I really
and Bruce is
didn't
going to
know
have nothing but combat. Just for Kai.
So happy.
You have a
I think
mission,
when
Kai.
combat
You have a
actually
reason.
starts, you
It's
guys
a-
will be happy because like there's an initial roll. Like when combat starts, one side or the other started it, the other side doesn't know. They get to roll a die and figure out on what initiative number do they actually get a chance to start making decisions for what they do. Because pretty much most way combat works in real life is you don't announce I've rolled for initiative. No, you jump out of the shadows, you try to ambush somebody, you try to keep it in your favor the entire time and not let them have their fucking chance to get their bearing. Once the initiative die is rolled up, other party gets a chance to roll and see what they're doing. Then it's really just a scrum and a toss up. Good luck.
What classes are available?
The
So
basic
small.
5 food groups.
Okay. Magic user, combat, melee, I'm guessing martial characters.
Yeah, I think you should run the magic user.
Whoever wants to play the fighter, tell me what type of fighter you want to play in Discord. We don't have to eat up combat or eat up real minutes on this, but just tell me what type of character. You guys sort out which ones. Who wants to play the wizard? Who wants to play the bard? Who wants to play the cleric? If you want to play an archer, a fighter type, go ahead. I don't give a shit. I'll roll it up.
I'll be the wizard.
You guys figured out. You 5 figured out, not me. This is a team building effort that I'm throwing at you.
All right. So for next week, I think what we're going to do is we're going to touch on the last corner of this, which is the narrativism, and then what we'll do with the remaining
Didn't we
time.
already?
Bruce will give us. Not really. We didn't dive into it. We hit 2 out of the 3. And then what we'll do is that'll be probably about half of it. The other half, Bruce is going to give us some background on the world that we're going to be playing in for the following week.
Will do. Looking forward to it.
So go ahead and go around the table. Jaide, what do you got coming up this week?
So getting over strep is my number one. Not hacking my lungs out. That's where I was last week. I was on the couch with 102 fever instead of being on here with these guys discussing Exalted and my likes and dislikes of it. But no, this week I have some family coming into town, so that'll be this weekend. But I'm going to be trying to put pen to paper for Gatekeepers. It has come to my attention that when I would publish the schedule for Gatekeepers, affiliate channels that could see the material would cover the material same day or same week of the material that we were planning on covering on Gatekeepers. So I'm going to be kind of putting that behind the GM screen at this point, and it's going to be reserved for just Gatekeeper members instead of Gatekeepers and Masters. So I'm going to be coming up with the topic for next week as well as the questions and trying to publish that ahead of time to just the Gatekeeper members.
I'd like to see more people get involved with that stream. I feel like if I jump in there, then we're just like doing GK Part 2 on Thursdays.
It's
Yeah,
such a
I would like to.
I have recommended a couple of great YouTubers out there. Hopefully, they'll show up.
We can recommend-
I wouldn't mind having any of the masters of the Gatekeepers on at any time for any panel that they want to be a part of, especially if it's a topic they actually feel strongly about. The masters of the Discord server, they're welcome to join panel at any time. That's why I was posting the link to where the masters could see it, is so they could join if they so chose. I haven't had any takers since I want to say December. So
You haven't had any
Was that
takers
Fritz?
since you.
Was that Fritz that joined us?
Fritz joined, I think, with Max, but it was Heathen Dog that joined us in December.
No, when we did Ancient Ruins.
Oh yes, Fritz was there. Yeah, but that was December.
Oh, was it? Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah, we're going into late February now.
Yep.
All right, Connell, what do you got coming up this week?
Well, there's a
Okay, let's see.
Hold on. I might do a video Friday or Saturday. I might just do a stream Friday or Saturday. I don't know. But Sunday, me, Shadow, and Gentleman Jack, and some other fine gentlemen will be talking about 1980. I don't know the year on it. Movie, the Krull, Krull.
Roll.
Yeah. Most of us have hopefully watched it by that point, and we'll be discussing the high points, the low points, and what the fuck was I drinking points of watching that movie yet again. Not saying it's a bad movie, just not saying it's a good movie, but that's just my opinion. That's all. That's what I got.
Bruce.
I'm looking at something that looks like it's appearing on Reddit right now. And for those of you that don't have Reddit, the grant at Columbia Games is talking about doing a 40th anniversary hardcover book for Harnmaster. And he's looking to get involved with people and do free PDF copy reviews. And maybe
Actually, that was I got that in my email and I put that in Discord.
Yeah,
so that was from my email.
I kind of got the same thing. So,
okay.
So he's the 40th anniversary of Harn is upon us, so that makes me happy. If you're not familiar with Harn, just do a casual search for it, or look at Columbia Games' website. They have probably the most extensively detailed fantasy game world in creation, much more than Forgotten Realms. It's better detailed, it's better realized, and I'm just going to say that they're solid people. So if you are into that sort of thing, I recommend it because they have a wonderful world that you can decide on how you want to run your game, Simulationist, Narrative, or Gamist. And no matter what, it's going to have the same level of detail tomorrow, because that's one thing they really excel with. For my games and my information that I'm going to be putting on YouTube, I'll be doing, starting on Saturday, I'm looking to have a video drop one per day on my channel, along with my regular schedule. It might be only a 10-minute video, but I'll be doing more shorter videos that are just going to pop up out of nowhere. I've got to be doing this because I need to do more stuff with Dungeons and Delvers. I've got to do some other reviews that I need. I want to finish up Men, which was a fucking success. And if you're not certain about Men, I've got a review on my YouTube channel. Check it out. If you get offended easy, just skip right over. Why are you even listening to me? Anyway, on to the other fine people of this panel.
Shadow, what do you got coming up?
It's right there in the name, Shadow and Son. Me and my boy doing different crafts and painting and game and miniature reviews and product reviews. Tonight we're doing a craft video to help those of you out there who paint miniatures and do things like that. We're going to show you how to make some really extraordinary miniature bases for your larger miniatures instead of just the simple black circle that so many miniatures come with. We're going to show you guys something really to turn them into a work of art. And then Saturday, I've got my sci-fi Shadow Chat. Thanks again, Baron, for the title, where we will be talking about some sci-fi related gaming topic. We haven't picked it yet. And then, on to the next week with the usual schedule with me and my boy. Of course, hanging out with Connell on Sunday. But, you guys have been watching the channel long enough. You know our schedule. It's usually a video a day plus a couple extras on Tuesday, Thursday, and, whatever, just happens to, spark our interest.
All right, Kai, any interesting musings that are going to be in Bruce's Discord? Those of you who are watching on Bruce's channel, his Discord link is in his description.
With all honesty, I'm trying to find. I kind of wrote a bunch of not happy stuff later, so I'm just trying to find motivation again to write something new. I'm sure I'll find something to write, but right now I'm just kind of on empty, and I'll figure out something. just
Right.
with an idea, and if it's good, I'll buy it and I'll write something interesting. I don't know yet. Right now, I'm just trying to find new motivation. That's all.
Okay. Myself, Bruce brought up the Harn thing. I did get the email as well. I did reach out to him, so I'm just waiting to hear from him. I'm going to probably try to set up some kind of interview for my channel.
I think that'd be great for your channel, dude.
And take a look at what he's got, for the PDF copy that he has. Definitely take a look at that, see what we can do to try to get him in for an interview and whatnot. And I've got a couple of reviews that I've been putting off, and I'm gonna have to just pull the trigger and do them. I've been trying to get to be more on the Twitch side, and I've been kind of failing at that. Just some stuff here at the house that I've had to deal with and whatnot. So, but trying to get back on track and everything else. So thank you everybody for the support that you've shown. I do appreciate it. So, and I think that's our show for the night. So, Bruce, why don't you take us out?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for waiting with us all the way from start to finish. For those of you that are watching this after we've broadcast live, we thank you for your time. It is a valuable commodity, and we look forward to talking to you once again next Thursday evening to follow up on a sequel or follow up officially to this podcast. Thank you so much.